Hello all, Edisoft welcomes you all to the February edition of our monthly current affairs. Here, we will talk about all the important news of January 2025 and some quick reads along the way. Without further ado, let's begin. More than 18 marching contingents, 31 tableau, and around 5,000 artists participated at the Republic Day Parade 2025 held at Kartavya Park on 26 January 2025. The parade began after President Draupadi Murmu unfurled national flag, followed by salute from Parade Commander Lt. General Bhavnesh Kumar. In a rare coincidence, Parade Commander Lt. General Bhavnesh Kumar took part in the Ade parade with his son Lieutenant Ehan Kumar, who led the contingent of the iconic 61 Cavalry on Kartavya Path. The parade also included mind-blowing stunts by daredevils and spectacular aerial formations by the Indian Air Force aircraft. The parade concluded with grand celebration after national anthem. Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto is the chief guest, with military contingents from the country also participated in a march past. The Republic Day parade started at 10:30 a.m. The 90-minute ceremony commenced with the visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to the National War Memorial, where he led the nation in paying solemn tributes to the fallen heroes by laying a wreath. The Mahakumbh Mela in Prayagraj commenced with its first Amrit Snan on 14 January 2025. This ritual bath, known as Shahi Snan, marks event in Hindu traditions and draws thousands of devotees. The Kumbh Mela occurs every 12 years at 4 sacred locations, with Prayagraj being one of them. The first dip is reserved for sadhus from various aktas, who are considered the royalty of this religious gathering. 13 aktas participate in the Mahakumbh. Shri Panchayati Akhra Mahanirvani led the first dip. Makar Sankranti marks the sun's transition to Capricorn. Uttarayan signifies the god's daytime in Hindu beliefs. Shani, the lord of Capricorn, is the sun's son. As the Mahakumbh Mela progresses, it will culminate in various rituals and celebrations. Several auspicious bathing dates occur during the Kumbh Mela. Makar Sankranti on 14th January, morning Amavasya falls on 29th January, and Vasant Panchami on 3rd February. The final date is Shivratri on 26th February, marking the conclusion of the Kumbh Mela. As millions of pilgrims gather to take a dip at Prayagraj Sangam on morning Amavasya, considered the most auspicious day of Kumbh Mela, on 29th January 2024, the rush of devotees flocking towards a spot called the Sangam's Nose turned fatal in the pre-dawn dark. The stampede happened between 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. as devotees rushed towards the Sangam for the Amrit Snan. A barrier collapsed, causing panic and chaos. Reports indicated that misinformation exacerbated the situation, leading to a surge in the crowd. Many devotees were injured, prompting immediate medical assistance. At least 30 pilgrims were killed, dozens injured, and many separated from their families as a sea of devotees broke through barriers to make their way towards the nose at the Triveni Sangam. Following the stampede, Uttar Pradesh CM Yogi Adityanath appealed to the devotees to not flock to the Sangam nose, suggesting they take dips at ghats near them. Mr. Prabowo Subianto paid a state visit to India from January 23 to 26, 2025. He also attended the celebrations of the 76th Republic Day of India as the chief guest. He was accompanied by a high-level delegation including several ministers as well as senior officials of the Indonesian government and a business delegation. This was the first visit of President Prabowo to India in his current capacity as president and coincided with the 75th anniversary of India-Indonesia diplomatic relations, a milestone that reflects the enduring friendship and deep-rooted historical ties between the two countries. President Prabowo was accorded a ceremonial reception at the Rashtrapati Bhavan and he paid tributes to Mahatma Gandhi at Rajghat. This was followed by bilateral talks between Prime Minister Modi and President Prabowo. Thereafter, the two leaders witnessed the exchange of bilateral documents. President Prabowo attended the luncheon hosted by Prime Minister Modi in his honor. The second of the two multi-purpose vessels, being built by MS Lanti Shipyard for the Indian Navy, was launched in the presence of Rajesh Kumar Singh, Defence Secretary, on 13 January 2025 at Lanti, Kattupalli, Chennai. The ship has been named Utkarsh, which means superior in conduct, and is synonymous to the multi-dimensional role envisaged for the platform. These multi-purpose vessels will be capable of towing ships, launch and recover various targets, operate unmanned autonomous vehicles, and act as a trial platform for various indigenous weapons and sensors under development. The 106M vessels are designed to achieve a maximum speed of 15 knots. This endeavor is in line with Indian Navy efforts towards indigenous shipbuilding, and the launch of this vessel by a private Indian shipyard showcases the country's strides in indigenous shipbuilding, in consonance with Government of India vision for Atmanirbhar Bharat and Make in India initiative. The Indian Navy, with destroyer INS Mumbai, along with 8 other Indo-Pacific nations, has been deployed in the Malacca, Sunda and Lombok Straits between the Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean on 16 January 2025 as part of the 5th edition of the multinational naval exercise La Perouse 25. The exercise, which began on 16 January, continued till 24 January. The Indo-Pacific nations participating in this major exercise include Australia with the destroyer HMAS Hobart, Canada with the destroyer HMCS Ottawa, the US with the LCS USS Savannah, France with its French CSG, India with the destroyer INS Mumbai, Indonesia providing base support on land for the Atlantic to maritime patrol aircraft of French CSG, Malaysia with the destroyer FFG Lekir and its embarked helicopter and the vessel Gaga Samudera, the UK with the offshore patrol vessel HMS Spey, and Singapore with the patrol vessel RSN Independence. On 14 January 2025, Indian space startup Digantara achieved milestone with the successful launch of its Space Camera for Object Tracking (SCOT) mission. This marks an important step in enhancing space situational awareness and tracking capabilities in low Earth orbit (LEO). The mission was launched aboard SpaceX's Transporter 12 rocket, showcasing India's growing presence in the global space industry. The SCOT satellite was launched on SpaceX's Transporter 12 mission from Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. The mission successfully established contact with its ground station shortly after launch. The mission is backed by Aditya Birla Ventures and SIDBI. It aims to boost national security and enhance space operations through improved tracking capabilities. Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated Digantara on the success of SCOT, emphasizing its contribution to India's space industry. The Ministry of Home Affairs (MHA) on 25 January 2025 announced the names of the awardees who will receive the highest civilian awards, Padma Awards, for the year 2025. This year, President Draupadi Murmu has approved the conferment of 139 Padma Awards. Among the awardees, 23 are women, and the list includes 10 individuals categorized as foreigners, NRIs, PIOs, or OCIs, as well as 13 posthumous awardees. 30 awardees will be given Padma Awards under the Literature and Education category in ceremonial functions which will be held at Rashtrapati Bhavan usually around March or April. This year, 7 people will get the highest award, which is given for exceptional and distinguished service to the country. Under the Education category, Metricton Vasudevan Nair from Kerala will be awarded the Padma Vibhushan posthumously. He was affectionately called by his admirers as Metricton and died on 25 December 2024. In honor and Udaipur have become the first two Indian cities to join the global list of accredited wetland cities under the Ramsar Convention on Wetlands as notified on 26 January 2025. Prime Minister took to social media and congratulated the two cities for joining the list of 31 wetland accredited cities globally. This recognition reflects our strong commitment to sustainable development and nurturing harmony between nature and urban growth, he wrote. Earlier this month, the Ministry of Environment, Forests and Climate Change, MOFANC, submitted 3 nominations from India for Wetland City Accreditation, WCA, Indore and Bhopal from Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan's Udaipur. Sirpur Lake, a Ramsar site in Indore, has been recognized for water bird congregation and is being developed as a bird sanctuary. Udaipur in Rajasthan is surrounded by 5 major wetlands, namely Pichola, Fateh Sagar, Rang Sagar, Swaroop Sagar, and Doodh Talai. On 29 January 2025, the Indian Space Research Organisation, ISRO, marked milestone by successfully completing its 100th launch from the Satish Dhawan Space Centre in Sriharikota. The mission involved the Geosynchronous Satellite Launch Vehicle, GSLV F-15, which carried the NVS-02 satellite into orbit. This launch not only represents a technical achievement but also marks India's growing capabilities in space exploration and technology. The GSLV F-15 lifted off successfully, placing the NVS-02 satellite in its intended orbit. This satellite is the second in the navigation with Indian constellation, Navaisi series, designed to provide precise navigation services across India and surrounding regions. NVS-02 has a lift-off mass of 2,250 kilograms and operates on the I2K bus platform. This satellite employs a combination of indigenous and procured atomic clocks to ensure accurate time estimation, crucial for navigation services. The collision of the Russian nuclear-powered icebreaker, 50 Lead-40, with a cargo vessel in the Karachi on 26 January 2025 has raised concerns about safety and navigation in the Arctic region. The impact caused damage to the icebreaker but did not compromise its seaworthiness or safety systems. This incident puts stress on the strategic importance of the Northern Sea Route (NSR) for Russia amid rising global temperatures and increasing shipping activity. The dramatic collision occurred on 26 January, but it was notified on 28 January. The icebreaker was escorting the Yaman-freighted cargo vessel and moving in close quarters when its bow struck the cargo's port side. The impact caused a gash on the icebreaker's bow above the waterline. Atomflot, the manufacturer of the nuclear-powered icebreaker, notified that the vessel continued operating in the Northern Sea Route after its port side edge plating was damaged and the 2 onboard reactors, located on the rear of the ship, were unharmed in the accident. As part of the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav celebrations, the Women Entrepreneurship Platform, WEP, of Niti Aayog has launched an inspiring initiative, Empowar Biz Sapno Ki Udaan, on 8 January 2025. This program, in collaboration with New Shop, India's largest 24/7 convenience retail chain, aims to empower women entrepreneurs in the retail sector by providing essential skills, resources, and opportunities. The Empower Biz initiative is part of WEP's Award to Reward (ATR) program, focusing on mentorship, training, and financial support to help women succeed in organized retail. Participants will gain valuable insights into retail management, digital tools, financial literacy, and business development. The program seeks to address key challenges faced by women entrepreneurs, such as societal biases, limited access to financing, and lack of credible networks and mentorship. This initiative will select 50 women entrepreneurs and candidates will be chosen through an online application process based on specific criteria. 6 persons were killed and more than 20 critically injured in a stampede at Tirupati on 8 January 2025 as people jostled for tickets for the Vakunta Ekadashi festival at the Thirumal temple on 10 January 2025. The TTD had set up around 90 counters at various locations in Tirupati and announced that tickets would be made available from 5 a.m. on 9th January. The announcement drew tens of thousands of people, eager to ensure their place for darshan. However, the overwhelming crowd at the counters led to chaos as the arrangements were reportedly not adequate. The police had a tough time controlling the crowd. The injured were rushed to the government-run Sri Venkateswara Ramnarayan Ruya Hospital for treatment. Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister N. Chandrababu Naidu expressed shock over the incident and instructed the TTD and police officials to extend the best medical care. He called for strict action against the employees responsible for the incident. The Indian Railways has unveiled a monumental engineering achievement with the completion of the Anchi Khad Bridge, India's first cable-stayed rail bridge on 9 January 2025. Situated in the challenging terrain of the Reasi district in Jammu and Kashmir. Stretching 725.5 meters in length, the Anchi Khad Bridge stands as a testament to cutting-edge engineering and innovation. Connecting Katra and Reasi, the bridge rises 331 meters above the riverbed, with its single main pylon towering 193 meters from its foundation. Its asymmetrical design, supported by 96 cables varying in length from 1982 to 295 meters, ensures stability amidst the region's complex geological and seismic challenges. Designed for speeds of 100 kilometers per hour, the bridge integrates state-of-the-art construction techniques and advanced equipment, such as the Doka jump form shuttering system and a 40-ton tower crane imported from Spain. These innovations enhanced safety and efficiency. The Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi laid foundation stone, inaugurated development works worth over Rs. 2 lakh crore in Vishakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh on 8 January 2025. The project, jointly developed by NGEL and the New and Renewable Energy Development Corporation of Andhra Pradesh, REDCAP, will be located in Pudimpaka, Anakapalle district. It is the first green hydrogen hub under the National Green Hydrogen Mission. The Vishakhapatnam Green Hydrogen Hub will be developed with an investment of approximately Rs. 1.85 lakh crore. It will include the development of 20 gigawatts of renewable energy projects and the production of 1,500 tons per day (TPD) of green hydrogen, along with 7,500 TPD of green hydrogen derivatives such as green methanol, green urea, and sustainable aviation fuel. These products are primarily aimed at export markets. Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister N. Chandrababu Naidu welcomed the initiative. On 7 January 2025, a 7.1 magnitude earthquake struck the Tibetan region near the Nepal border. The quake's epicenter was approximately 80 kilometers north of Metricton Everest, located 10 kilometers below the surface. By evening, reports indicated at least 95 fatalities and over 130 injuries in China, with extensive property damage. Tremors were felt as far away as Kathmandu and Kolkata. This event marks the seismic activity in the Himalayan region and raises concerns about future earthquakes. The earthquake's epicenter was in Tingri County, Shigatse, Tibet. This area is situated 4 to 5 kilometers above sea level and is home to roughly 7,000 residents. The region is for its spiritual heritage, being the seat of the Panchen Lama. Local authorities have restricted tourist access post-quake. The impact on infrastructure has been devastating, with hundreds of houses reported flattened. And here are some quick reads of the month. you enjoyed watching the video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.